This rare film shows a vital aspect of the D-Day landings, the transportation of locomotives to France on board HMS Twickenham out of Southampton. She was the sister ship of HMS Hampton and HMS Shepperton. The British ships were fitted with rear rolling crane for the duration of the war that enabled them to place locomotives weighing more than 60 tons directly onto rails on the quayside.
The success of the United Nations on the other side of the Channel meant that the supplies necessary to maintain them must follow them deeper and deeper into Hitler's Europe. The French railways had been robbed of most of their rolling stock by the Germans during the occupation, and so replacements from Britain and the United States were sent over both as cargo and on ferry boats equipped with a special superstructure to take them. Loading gear designed expressly for the purpose was employed to lift heavy locomotives bodily from the quaysides. Once aboard, they were run smoothly into position on the ferry boat's own rails. One most important feature of the shipping of this traffic was the special link span, which worked something in the nature of a drawbridge between ship and shore. By its use, whole trains of goods wagons, Red Cross coaches, and other rolling stock were enabled to run straight from the dock rails onto the ferry boats, without the use of any lifting gear. The principle of the peacetime Dover to Dunkirk train ferry had been very successfully adapted to Southampton's wartime needs.
The ferry's full load was 16 locomotives and 20 trucks. The first delivery to Cherbourg was on the 30th of June 1944, only 4 days after it was captured. The French railway infrastructure was largely destroyed or rendered ineffectual. A high percentage of the bridges and rails were wrecked. Few water facilities and pumps were intact. There was no coal, no electricity or signal system and phone line. In the yards, the switches and the rail forks were dynamited, preventing their use. The railway battalions were forced to start from scratch. They had to build their own tools and then develop facilities. In several areas, local fire departments were called out to furnish water for the locomotives. By July the 31st, the rail line from Cherbourg to Avranches was open, but far from totally functional. A measure of the importance of this work can be gauged by the message received from the Third Army. General Patton has broken through and is striking rapidly for Paris. He says his men can get along without food, but his tanks and trucks won't run without gas. Therefore, the railroad must be constructed to Le Mans by Tuesday midnight. Today is Saturday. Use 1 man per foot to make repairs if necessary. The 347th and 322nd Engineer General Service Units had just 75 hours to open a 135-mile-long rail line. 5 bridges were down. The most serious was an 80-foot span at Saint-Hilaire-de-Harquy. But they were supported by elements of the 392nd, 390th and 95th Engineer Regiments, roughly a total of 9,000 men. With 6 hours remaining before the deadline, 31 gasoline-loaded trains left at 1900 hours on the 14th and began crossing the Saint-Hilaire-de-Harquy Bridge at midnight. For its efforts, the 740th was to bring the first train into Paris on August the 30th.